Hey guys, this is North back again with another video. Today's video, I'm coming to you with 7 great aldehydic fragrances within my collection. Now I'm going to give you more than 7, but I didn't have like an even 10, so I may give you 8 or 9. We'll see exactly what I have here. Now I wanted to talk about aldehydic fragrances because this is one of my newer loves within my fragrance collection and along my fragrance journey. It's not something that I originally gravitated to because I was more into like the incense and the resins and things like that, and of course my summertime citruses. That's my first love, but these aldehydes have quickly become definitely my top 3, so I wanted to talk about them and present to you what I have in my collection that are basically all kind of in the same wheelhouse except for one that I will mention. So let's go ahead and get it going. Now before I start, I wanted to mention I just did like a little bit of research, of course, on YouTube, just trying to get a little bit more information about what aldehydes actually are. And so these fragrances will represent fragrances that have the true aldehydes in them. And though the first one I'll mention is Aldehyde C10, which gives off a sparkling smell. That's what I most associate with aldehydic smells. And the other one is C12 lauric, Aldehyde C12 lauric, and that one gives off a candle wax soapy smell. So I assume that in these compositions they maybe use a mixture of the two to give you the sparkling plus the soapy side, because that's mostly what I get from these particular fragrances that I'm going to talk about. And the last one is Aldehyde C9, which gives off a wax and an orange peel scent. So I don't know much about it. I just wanted to put that information out there. And let's go ahead and get to these fragrances. The last thing I wanted to mention is that I wanted to feature this because I thought that it had aldehydes in it. It's not listed in the notes, but what's famous about it is that it has this peach note. And from what this perfumer was talking about is that the peach note, which is represented by Aldehyde C14, is actually not a real aldehyde. They call it a fake aldehyde because if you add more chains onto the particular molecules, it doesn't become an actual aldehyde. And that is the peach note in Mitsuko. So I just wanted to talk about that briefly because this is definitely one of my favorite fragrances. This is a fragrance that, to me, the hype is real, the love on it is real. And even in the same line, there are some fragrances that people love that I also love as well. So they're in no particular order except for the last one I'm going to mention as going to be my favorite from the list. The first one I want to mention is from the house of Hermès, and this is Caleche, or Caleche. I'm sure it's Caleche. So this particular fragrance I had been wanting to get because, you know, I went on my little rabbit hole of trying to find aldehydic fragrances, and this one's considered an aldehydic floral. The notes on this one are Aldehyde, Cypress, Bergamot, Lemon, Mandarin, Ylang-Ylang, Oakmoss, Sandalwood, and Tonka bean. And to me, all of these are pretty much like quintessential floral aldehydic fragrances with a sort of similar floral chypre type of DNA. And this one is a classic. It's not that old. It was released, it's quite old. It was released in 1961, but about this one, it was perfumed by Guy Robert, and Guy Robert did Gold Man from Amouage's first ever fragrance, and that one was released in 1981. On Fragrantica, people say these smell similar. They don't smell alike to me because this one does not have any animalic notes in it. So that's the first one I want to mention, Caleche. This is the Eau de Toilette from Hermès. The next fragrance I want to mention is from the house of Chanel, and you're going to see Chanel pop up here because Chanel is most synonymous with starting the trend of having aldehydes in fragrances. And this is Chanel number 5 Eau Premiere. I do not have the original Chanel number 5. I've been waiting to travel because I remember the last time I traveled, I saw in the duty frees like a discount on some of the Parfum ones, but I was disappointed to find out that there was a tester, like a 35 ml tester bottle, and I thought what they were selling was that size, and it's actually like 30 ml or something like that. I may or may not get it, but I love Chanel number 5 Eau Premiere. When I first smelled it, I was lucky enough to come across one of my plugs who had a tester bottle of it. That's why it has the floral aldehydic on the back. So this one is actually the concentration that was released in 2015. It's an eau de parfum. And the notes on this one are Aldehydes, Ylang-Ylang, Neroli, Jasmine, Rose, Vanilla, and Vetiver. And this is just, again, another quintessential aldehydic fragrance. It smells similar to Chanel number 22. The press release on it is that this was released to be a lighter version of Chanel number 5, so it doesn't have any animalic notes in it. It's just florals, aldehydes, little bit of vanilla, sandalwoodish on the dry down. But I love this fragrance. It lasts a long time. It's decent. To me, this performs better than the Caleche bottle that I have, but it's not my favorite. I do love this a lot though. Moving on. The next fragrance I want to mention is from the house of Labo, and this one is Aldehyde 44. This is the city exclusive from Dallas. This is a 10 ml, 15 ml, basically decant that I got in September in the US. Unfortunately, here in Kuwait, they do carry the city exclusives, but this past year they didn't carry all of them, so that was disappointing. I probably wouldn't have bought it anyway because the city exclusives are very expensive. They're also, what I found out, the same price in the stores at those cities than they are when they're released in September, which I think is kind of like counterintuitive, I guess. But anyway, so Aldehyde 44, this is a beautiful aldehydic fragrance. Notes on it are aldehyde, musk mallow, narcissus, vanilla, jasmine, and tuberose. And again, this is going to be that soapy, sparkling aldehydic one. It's a little bit heavier than some of the other ones. All of these have a similar style. They're all in the same wheelhouse with slight differences, and the price on this is the only thing that will probably keep me from having this in my collection. If it was like the normal Labo price, which is still what I consider to be expensive for what you get, I would definitely have it, even though I still don't like it more than my number one. But this is a beautiful aldehydic fragrance. Have you smelled Aldehyde 44 from Labo? All right, let me know. Let's keep it moving. The next fragrance I want to mention is from the house of Guerlain. This one is called Liu, and this particular one was re-released in 2021. I did want to get an older bottle of it, but they're charging a lot for it. I don't know if it's worth it. This is another floral aldehyde. This has aldehydes, jasmine, pink rose, iris, vanilla, and woody notes. And this is another great, you just really can't go wrong with these if you love this sort of scent. If you love the aldehydic floral, you can't go wrong with this. This is the story behind this, is that it's supposed to be the answer to Chanel number 5, but it's it's closer to Eau Premiere because it doesn't have any animalic notes inside of it. So there's not much to say about all of these because they all smell similar. The only thing I can say about this one is when I wore it last week or something like that, I felt like I didn't get a lot of longevity from it, but I'll have to, just keep wearing it and see how it goes. But it's a beautiful scent. I'm glad that I was able to get it. It was hard to find. I don't know how available it is in the US or in Europe or the EU, but I couldn't get it locally. I did have to order it from Dubai. Moving on. The next fragrance I want to mention is also from the house of Guerlain, and this is one of my favorite super slept on Guerlain fragrances, and this is Chants de Hermès. So Song of Aromas. This is a beautiful floral aldehydic sheeper fragrance. This will be on my sheeper list whenever I do one. This one was released in 1962. Some of the notes on it are, of course, aldehyde, citruses, plums, honeysuckle, ylang-ylang, heliotrope, vanilla, and benzoin. And this is just a beautiful scent. I don't know why it's not talked about more. I don't understand why it's not popular as much as some of the other Guerlains, Samsara or whatever. Because even I can see women really liking this as well, but it's just not popular. I'm glad that they still make it. And this is one of my favorite. This is one of my favorite fragrances. I have a backup bottle of this one because I like it so much. Let's keep it moving. The next fragrance I want to mention is the only fragrance that is not in that same ballpark as the other aldehydic florals that I've mentioned. And this one is from the house of Robert Piguet, and this is Bandit. Bandit, I was able to get this 50 ml bottle. It is not discontinued, but for some reason Bandit seems to be still very popular, so it sells out a lot. So I was happy to get this 50 ml bottle. And why I want to talk about this one, because I have plenty of other fragrances that have aldehydes in it, is that I feel like I do get aldehydes from it. To me, this is a woman's fragrance. Originally, it was marketed as a woman's fragrance, but it's like so dark, and today it would be considered masculine. But I do get this aldehyde kind of soapiness from it, along with the other notes that are in this fragrance. This one was released in 1944. And the notes on it are aldehyde, galbanum, bergamot, orange, jasmine, and then here we have Oakmoss, civet, leather, myrrh. So that civet, that leather, and the myrrh, to me it reminds me almost of Anateus. Now they don't smell similar, but they have that same sort of weird leather, woody sheeper vibe. Compared to that, this one is a little bit more feminine, but it's a great fragrance. It's very strong, but I think it's one that you should check out for sure. Bandit is one that I did blind buy it, but I was pleasantly surprised. I definitely wanted to get it because I'm always trying to just check out different and new sheepers. So let's keep it moving. All right, the next two fragrances, so I'll have a total of 8. So the next two fragrances will be from the house of Chanel, so no surprise there. And the next one I'm going to talk about is Cuir de Russie, and this one is the parfum, the pure parfum. And this particular one, the reason why I'm featuring this and not the eau de parfum, this is actually the eau de toilette, is that the eau de toilette does not, at least on Fragrantica, it doesn't list aldehydes, even though all of these like older Chanels, you get an aldehydic feel from it. So Cuir de Russie was released originally in 1924. The notes on this one are Russian leather, aldehydes, Ylang-Ylang, jasmine, tobacco, rose, and vanilla. And I had to get the pure parfum. It's hard to come by. They're of course not discounted, but I love this eau de toilette so much that and it's strong. So I knew if I found another bottle, if I found this pure parfum, I'd go ahead and pick it up because it's not discontinued or anything like that, but it seems to be sold out a lot. So I got this one, I think, from Harvey Nichols, and it's a great leather classy leather scent. You know, it has that animalic feel to it. These are the type of leathers that I really like, things that have birch tar, things that have castoreum, stuff like that in it. And so it lists a leather note, but it doesn't say for sure. I believe the eau de toilette, it lists birch tar or something like that. If you know, let me know in the comments. Let's move on to the last fragrance, I believe. And the last fragrance I want to mention, again, is from the house of Chanel. And this is, if you don't already know, number 22. This is the eau de parfum concentration, which was released in 2016. When I first smelled Chanel number 22, I immediately fell in love with it. This is my all-time favorite Chanel, at least in the Les exclusive line. I love it more than Cuir de Russie, probably because it's my first love, and it's something that I feel like it's more versatile than Cuir de Russie. But I love this scent. I had to try my hardest to try to find it at a like a discount, because the thing about Chanel's, even here where I'm at, is that Chanel's do not get discounted. Even if you're in a store, they're doing a store-wide sale, they do not discount Chanel's. So I paid retail for this. When I found a spot that gave, you know, one of the warehouse or gray market places that had it, it was only like $6 off. So I just bought it from Bloomingdale's to try to at least earn some points and get some samples and things like that. It wasn't really worth saving that $6. So I went on ahead and picked it up. It was originally released in 1922. again. Now, when I talked about Eau Premiere is supposed to be a lighter version of number 5, and I actually got that mixed up with Chanel number 22, which Chanel number 22, it came out in 1922, and Chanel number 5, let me look up. Chanel number 5 was released a year before in 1921. So back to Chanel number 22. Again, it was released in 1922. The notes on it are Aldehydes, Lily of the Valley, Neroli, Ylang-Ylang, Tuberose, Jasmine, Rose, Vanilla, and Vetiver. And this is, to me, this is the best floral aldehydic fragrance out of all these ones that I've mentioned. It actually lasts a lot longer. It has a lot of staying power. I love it. And what I love most about it is just the overall smell. It's just so classy. It's one of those type of smells. It's like Mitsuko in the sense where when I smelled it, to believe that these came out in the 1920s, in the early 1900s, to smell like that would be just crazy, which, you know, it is what it is as far as anything else that was going on during that time. But this is my favorite all-time aldehydic fragrance, Chanel number 22. I love it so much that my real plug came through on a 200 ml bottle of Chanel number 22. I was able to find a tester bottle of it. The juice looks lighter than it is on camera maybe, but I was able to get a tester bottle of it. So I have plenty of Chanel number 22 because I ran through this one. I'm running through this one pretty quick, but I love Chanel number 22 so much that when my guy, when he's showing me what he possibly has or what he could get, he has some Chanels from time to time, but he hadn't had 22. So when he was flipping through some photos of things that he possibly could get, came across 22, and I stopped him and I looked him in his face and I said, I need that. So he got it in for me, and I'm happy about it, because the only other place obviously would be getting it straight from the retail shop. There's a shop that a guy used to be kind of my plug, but now he's sort of not the plug because he's taxing. Now he has Chanel number 22, the EDT, a 200 ml just like this, but he's charging so much for it. I got this, the 200 mls run about more than 300, maybe like 350 or something like that. So I got this for significantly less than that, I won't tell you. But it still was expensive for my pocket, but it was significantly less, at least $100 off of the retail price. I'm extremely happy I was able to find a tester bottle of Chanel number 22. Again, it's my all-time favorite. Chanel is my favorite aldehydic fragrance. Do you like aldehydes in your fragrances? Please let me know in the comments. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one, guys. Peace.